the spark of rage. Nova Terra had always been quiet, nestled among the stars of the Epsilon Eridani system. It was one of Earth's most peaceful colonies, a place where children played in red-leafed orchards and the skies were filled with gentle twin suns instead of warships. It was the kind of place where you forgot about the Galactic Empire. Elena Ramirez leaned on the doorway of her small house, watching her son Lucas chase a drone-shaped kite across the grass. At 8, he was the embodiment of innocence, thin, bright-eyed, with a mop of dark curls and a smile that seemed to belong to a simpler universe. Dinner in 10, Carino, Elena called. Lucas gave a thumbs up without turning around, too immersed in his game. Behind her, the news feed played on low volume. Another broadcast from Earth, a fiery senator warning about rising tensions with the Empire. Elena had tuned out the politics. Nova Terra was safe, she told herself. That's what the treaty guaranteed. Then came the sound, an unnatural hum that vibrated through her bones. She stepped onto the porch. From the northern ridge, a dark shape emerged. Imperial dropship, black, unmarked, fast. It came down in the village square, kicking up clouds of red dust. The hum of anti-grav drives gave way to a hiss as the ramp lowered. They arrived like they owned the planet. 6 armored soldiers, clad in the bone-white plating of the Imperial Enforcement Corps. Their visors gleamed like insect eyes. The lead one held a data slate and scanned the area without a word. Neighbors began to gather. Whispers filled the air. Elena's neighbor, Mr. Halverson, stepped forward. "What's the meaning of this?" he asked, his voice measured. The lead trooper answered with flat efficiency. "We have intel suggesting a rebel element within this community. We are authorized to conduct a sweep under Article 14 of the Outer Colonies Accord. But there's no—" A raised rifle silenced Halverson. The soldiers fanned out, scanning homes, pointing weapons at confused civilians. Lucas, unaware of the tension, ran toward the square, laughing, kite still in hand. "Lucas, wait!" Elena screamed. Too late. He approached the lead soldier, holding up the toy kite. "Look, it follows voice commands. I made it in school." The soldier stiffened. "Drop the device." "He's a child," Elena pleaded, sprinting forward. The trooper aimed. Unidentified device. Possible detonation risk. Elena reached her son and stood between him and the rifle. "He's just a kid. He's not a threat." A flash of white-hot plasma cut through her chest. Lucas screamed. Another shot. Silence. The square froze. A woman and a child lay crumpled on the dirt, steam rising from their bodies. Halverson lunged in rage. He was shot mid-step. 2 more civilians shouted. They were silenced. Then the troopers marched back to their ship, bodies left where they fell. Above the village, a local security drone hovered, unnoticed. It had recorded everything. 12 hours later, the footage hit Earth's networks. Unfiltered, raw. A mother shielding her child. A boy smiling, showing his invention. Plasma fire. Blood. The sound of his scream echoing in the silence. It was broadcast across every major human city, every station, every colony. Billions watched in horror. Some cried. Some vomited. Others clenched their fists and whispered promises. Protests erupted in seconds. Riots within hours. The United Earth government convened an emergency session. Leaders pounded fists on polished tables. The Galactic Empire issued a formal statement calling the incident a regrettable but justified use of force in the face of potential insurgency. The Empire thought the matter settled. But Earth had changed. In the underground bunkers of the Terran Defense Armada, old war codes were dusted off. In classified data vaults, blueprints long deemed too dangerous were reopened. Hackers mobilized. Generals were recalled from retirement. And in a private residence outside of Geneva, a woman watched the footage on repeat, her weathered face hard as steel. Admiral Juno Carter, once a legend, now a ghost of wars past, whispered to herself as Lucas screamed again from the screen. "They've gone too far. Ashes of diplomacy." Earth's orbit shimmered with silent fury. The Terran Defense Armada, once a symbol of peace through strength, now flickered to life. Ships that had gathered dust in orbital dry docks powered up. Weapon systems hummed awake. AI war cores blinked online for the first time in decades. In Geneva, the emergency session of the United Earth government had devolved into controlled chaos. Diplomatic channels with the Galactic Empire had gone from icy to outright hostile. Their response to the Nova Terra massacre was nothing short of mockery. "We regret civilian casualties," the Empire's High Chancellor had stated via holo transmission, his reptilian eyes bored. But such actions are necessary when species fail to control their own. Earth's delegation had walked out, but not before delivering a message. There will be a reckoning. Now, in the cold corridors of the UN Command Center, the architects of that reckoning convened. Admiral Juno Carter stood at the center of the war table, gray hair tied back, her uniform sharp but unadorned. Her reputation preceded her, hero of the Titan uprising, liberator of Mars, but she had retired years ago. It had taken one video to bring her back. "They killed Elena," she said without looking up. General Armin Rhee, head of Earth Strategic Operations, leaned in. "I didn't know you were close." She was a translator during the ceasefire accords. Helped write the treaty they just pissed on. Juno's voice was flat, but her eyes burned. Around them, holograms danced. Empire fleet positions, weak points in their relay chains, maps of occupied worlds where rebellion simmered beneath the surface. "We strike where hurts," she said, "not just for revenge, but to burn their myth of invincibility." Earth cyber divisions had already done the impossible, cracked the Empire's communications net. Intel flowed in like a flood, exposing logistics routes, troop deployments, even the schedule of the Emperor's shuttle fleet. The question now wasn't if Earth would retaliate. It was how much fire to unleash. Across the stars, whispers spread. On Varnak, an alien world stripped bare by imperial mining, a slave whispered to another, "Humans are rising." On Kalora, a water world where descent meant drowning, an engineer risked his life to intercept Earth's signal. Encrypted instructions, blueprints, hope. Earth wasn't just preparing a war. It was building a coalition. Inside a hidden military AI lab beneath Siberia, a prototype named Dagger came online. "Operational?" Carter asked. The technician nodded. "He's more than we expected." The AI's voice boomed from the speakers. "My mission." Carter stepped forward. "You're going to help us dismantle a galactic empire. Efficiently." A pause. "Confirmed." Beginning calculations. War was no longer just fought with guns. It was data, deception, speed. And Dagger was designed to predict the Empire's every move before they made it. The countdown had started. Back on Arxaris, the Empire's homeworld, a smirking Grand Inquisitor dismissed the growing reports of human military activity. "Let them rally. Let them scream. We've crushed worse." But beneath that arrogance, cracks formed. The footage of Elena and Lucas had leaked across the Empire, through back channels, rebel sympathizers, and rogue AI. On some worlds, enslaved species watched and wept. On others, they sharpened blades. The image of a human mother shielding her son with her body ignited something the Empire had long forgotten. Unity through rage. Juno Carter stood on the bridge of the ERS Vindicator, the Terran fleet's flagship, now refitted for war. Below her, thousands of soldiers loaded into drop ships. Pilots ran diagnostics. Engineers locked down fusion lances. Earth had not fought a war in decades, but it had prepared for one every day. Beside her stood Commander Reelan, a former resistance leader from a subjugated alien race, now Earth's first official ally. "Why now?" he asked. "Because of one mother and her boy," Juno said. "Because we gave them every chance." And they answered with blood. He nodded slowly. "Then it's time." Carter opened the comm channel fleet-wide. "This isn't just for revenge," she said, voice calm but cold. "This is for Nova Terra, for every colony they've broken, for every child they silenced. We are not here to negotiate." A pause. "We are here to remind the stars who we are." And far across the galaxy, the Empire felt the first tremor. Earth had decided. The war had begun. Shock and vengeance. The stars over Varnak turned red. It began without warning. Earth stealth cruisers dropping out of FTL like wraiths, launching precision strikes on Imperial comm towers and orbital defenses. The Empire's mining world, once a graveyard of broken species, lit up with explosions and sirens. Inside the atmosphere, drop pods screamed through the clouds like falling thunder. Corporal Dax loose slammed into the dirt moments later, pulse rifle in hand, his combat HUD blinking green. Around him, Earth's elite, the 7th Orbital Shock Division, fanned out in perfect silence. Clear the platforms. Free the workers. No mercy for collaborators, barked Lieutenant Nia Graves through the squad comms. Varnak wasn't just another conquest. It was symbolic, one of the Empire's oldest colonies, where humans had once been denied access even as diplomatic allies. A place where rebellion was punished by public executions, where Earth's warnings had long gone unheard. Now the reckoning had come. Dax advanced through the smoke-covered corridors of the main refinery. He caught movement, a thin, bone-worn alien child cowering behind a fuel tank. Imperial guards barked in a strange tongue, rifles raised. Dax didn't hesitate. One clean burst, 2 bodies dropped. The third tried to run, but Nia's knife found its target. The child stared at them in silence, then slowly raised a trembling hand and pointed deeper into the complex. More were coming. Let's finish this, Nia growled. Across the sector, Earth's campaign unfolded with terrifying efficiency. Empire fleet commanders, arrogant, slow to adapt, were caught off guard. Their strategies relied on brute force and predictable formations. Earth brought AI-assisted flanking maneuvers, EMP javelins, and neural sync drone swarms that struck faster than thought. On Thesura, an Imperial listening post went dark after Earth commandos infiltrated its ice tunnels and overloaded the core reactor. On Calthor, 9 human engineers took control of the planetary defense grid and turned its cannons on the Empire's own patrol ships. But it wasn't just the firepower that rattled the Empire. It was the message. At every liberated outpost, Earth broadcast the footage of Nova Terra, Elena, and Lucas. Over and over. In every tongue. No filters. No edits. The image of a mother shielding her son became a rallying cry across enslaved systems. Rebellions flared on over a dozen worlds. The Tlak, once a pacified warrior species, rose in full force, slaughtering their taskmasters and painting their dead with ashes. The Serani, aquatic telepaths forced into biolabor, used their mental bonds to fry Imperial officers from within. Wherever Earth forces struck, the oppressed followed, biting, clawing, blasting back centuries of occupation. Inside the command deck of the ERS Vindicator, Admiral Juno Carter watched the battle report stream in. A dozen victories, a few losses. The war was still young, but the balance of power had shifted faster than any of her analysts had predicted. "We underestimated the spark," said Commander Reelan, watching images of uprising spread across the hollow table. "They thought fear would hold us forever." "It's not just war anymore," Carter said. "It's contagion." On Arxaris, the Empire's core world, panic crept beneath the polished surface of its capital towers. Grand Strategist Vikal snarled as more systems fell off the control grid. "This isn't a war. This is infection," he spat. "Human propaganda. Terrorism." But behind him, even his aides whispered. Some had families on outer colonies. Some had seen the footage. Some had begun to doubt. The old fear was returning. They remembered the stories from centuries past, when humanity first reached the stars, too fierce to be dominated, too stubborn to yield. Earth was supposed to be tamed by diplomacy, controlled through trade. But now, it roared back, fury sharpened by pain. Back on Varnak, Dax stood atop the central control tower. The refinery was theirs. The Empire's banners burned beneath him. Alien workers, freed, emaciated, defiant, surrounded Earth's soldiers, cheering in their own strange languages. He opened a channel to Earth Command. Target secured. Civilians liberated. Estimated death toll. Imperial side only. "Copy," came the reply. "Prepare for redeployment." He looked at the small alien boy who had guided him earlier, now wearing an Earth Forces patch on his sleeve. "Let's go. You're safe now." The boy didn't understand the words, but he followed. And so the galaxy shifted, system by system. flame by flame, not just for vengeance, but for Lucas, for Elena, for every innocent the Empire had silenced. Now, Earth spoke in the only language the stars could no longer ignore. Fire, Judgment Day, the cradle of kings, an imperial fortress orbiting Arxaris, was once believed invincible. A ring-shaped megastructure the size of a continent, it housed the personal guard of the Emperor, the war councils of the Dominion, and the databanks of 1,000 conquered species. It was the seat of power, the heart of the Galactic Empire, and Earth had come to crush it. Admiral Juno Carter stood on the Vindicator's command bridge, watching the final approach. Behind her, the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled drifted into formation. 3 carrier groups, 10 capital-class warships, and hundreds of smaller craft. The alliance had grown in weeks. Rebel fleets, alien defectors, and Earth's own colonies united under one cause. "We don't just break their fleet today," she said, locking eyes with Commander Rillan. "We break their lie, that they are untouchable." Rillan nodded, his expression hard. "It ends now." "Dagger status?" The AI's calm voice echoed. "All weapons systems online. Enemy targeting arrays compromised. Transmission ready." Juno gave the order. Broadcast. Across every open frequency in Imperial space, Earth's voice rang out. "We are not here to negotiate. We are not here to plead. We are here for Elena Ramirez. We are here for Lucas. We are here for every life your empire took without mercy." Judgment has arrived. And then the stars exploded. The opening salvo turned darkness into fire. Earth's heavy railguns tore through the outer docking rings. Plasma torpedoes followed, cracking hull plating like eggshells. Imperial defenders scrambled, but Earth's battle AIs had already predicted their movements. Flanking runs, blind spots, even shield oscillation frequencies, nothing was left to chance. The Vindicator led the charge. Inside, Juno barked orders with precision. Cut their power grid. Target fusion conduits. Drive them out of position. Enemy cruisers spun wildly, some crashing into each other in the chaos. Frigates attempted a retreat, only to be sliced apart by drone swarms. Earth's fleet was smaller, but it was faster, smarter, angrier. In the fortress, the Emperor himself watched the battle unfold from a throne of obsidian alloy. His advisors begged him to flee, but pride, centuries old and calcified into delusion, held him rooted. "Humanity is a pest," he sneered. "They will burn out like they always do." But even as he spoke, the command tower shook. Earth's Marines were boarding. Corporal Dax Liu once again led the charge, breaching into the core chambers alongside Commander Rillan and a mixed team of Terran and Rebel soldiers. The corridors were massive, designed to intimidate. Gold-plated statues of past emperors lined the halls. Dax fired twice, when the statue shattered, sending its head clattering to the floor. "They love pretending they're gods," Rillan muttered. "Not anymore." They fought room by room. Laser traps, combat drones, elite guards. None could hold against the coordinated fury of Earth's strike teams. Even the defenders who remained loyal fought with panic in their eyes. They had never known fear. Until now. At last, they reached the throne room. The Emperor stood alone, draped in silk robes, arms outstretched. "Look at what you've become," he said, voice smooth, condescending. "Barbarians with technology. Do you think this vengeance makes you just?" Juno stepped forward. "No," she replied coldly. "It makes us human." She raised her sidearm and fired. A single pulse. Clean. Final. The Emperor collapsed, his crown rolling from his head. Dax exhaled. "That's it." Rillan looked around the throne room. "No, that's the beginning." Hours later, Earth broadcast its final message. The footage of the throne room, the fall of the Emperor, and a monument being built on Nova Terra. A bronze statue of a woman holding a child in her arms, their faces turned toward the stars. At the base, an inscription. "We remember. We resist. We rise." Peace would not come easily. Not in a galaxy that had lived too long under the Empire's boot. But Earth had shattered the illusion. The cycle of silence and submission was broken. Worlds once enslaved now stood tall, all because of one mother, One child, and the fire they lit in the hearts of billions. Humanity had come not to conquer the stars, but to remind them, never again.